Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weekly Manga Recap here in April the 19th of 2018. God himself tried to stop us from having this call. The god of sound equipment, that is. I think his name is Audial.
That's a decent name for an audio god.
Audial, yeah.
Audial. Nick, off-topic tangent. Have you ever heard of the Ziz?
No, I have not.
So, you know how there's the behemoth and the Leviathan?
Yeah.
The Ziz is the Ariel equivalent of that from Jewish folklore.
Oh, okay.
And I believe that the Ziz does not get enough credit. We need to get the Ziz out there. This is a new campaign we're starting, guys. I'm giving up on the podcast world. My sole devotion in my life now is to make sure that the Ziz is used as frequently as the Behemoth and the Leviathan. It's been getting the bums rush for too long, guys. 2019 is going to be the year of the Ziz. I figure we can get some promotional deals going on with the Miz. The Miz and the Ziz. That's like a good tag team that they can work together. Miz and a giant griffin who controls the skies.
Miz just starts coming out wearing ridiculous-looking bird-themed outfits.
I mean, isn't he already coming out wearing giant, like, steampunk glasses and goofiness? So, can't be too far off for him.
Yeah, weird-looking steampunk Vash the Stampede, or where the hell he was trying to look like the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, more or less. All right. Let's talk about manga. We don't have time to goof around.
We don't have time.
We're already like an hour behind.
I spent an hour struggling with my computer to make sure I could hear and speak things before this. So sorry about the delays, everyone. I got it all working though. Yay! Thank you, internet. Okay. Yeah, let's just kick off right into it. We're gonna go into the recap portion of Weekly Manga Recap. We're gonna start with My Hero Academia. Chris, it is chapter 179, School Festival Start, which, yeah, the school festival starts in this chapter. That's hardly what it's actually about, though. That is not the focus in any way, shape, or form. It's all about gentle.
And being real gentle.
I think we get, like, a page. No, well, I guess, okay, a page, and then the middle of 2 pages where fireworks go off. There's some festival stuff going on in those. But the rest of it is the fight between Deku and Gentle, and then Gentle getting a flashback with backstory. Last time, La Brava unleashed her love quirk to give Gentle a massive power boost. But Deku seems to still be quite a match for him, despite all of that. And we get a lot of fighting going on between them. Gentle starts to get a lot more aggressive with his abilities and a lot less playful. And he just starts stacking elastic layers on top of each other to basically do this massive kind of spring-loaded attack down onto Deku, which he calls Gently Sandwich. And he even starts remarking about the fact that he really doesn't, like fighting this way, but his determination to succeed is so great in this moment that he's just going to kind of forget all of the elegance. Because he must see through the fleeting dream of a man past his youth. Deku manages to get out from underneath the Gently Sandwich. And Deku starts countering like, hey, if you're all about dreams and all this stuff, why do you want to attack our festival? Why would you trample all over our feelings, all over our hopes and dreams? And Gentle just says, such is the way of the world. That's life, kid. Not everyone gets to have that dream come true, see?
Sucks to suck, Deku.
Deku tries to get around behind him and throw him with his jacket the way that he's done before. But Gentle has made his own coat elastic. And so Deku ends up springing back towards him and gets launched into, I think, another elastic layer in midair. It's one of the things that I haven't actually been able to follow in this fight so far. And a lot of it's actually been very clear and dynamic. But Deku, of course, is very upset that Gentle persists despite all of this. He says, hey, you're going to steal a smile from a girl who doesn't know the meaning of joy yet. And Gentle's like, sucks to be her. So,
Gentle's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know any girl like that. What are you talking about? We then get a flashback to Gentle's youth when he was an 18-year-old still in his second year of high school, which basically means he's the equivalent of a high school junior despite being 18 years old, is because his grades were so poor that he actually was held back a year. Despite this, he doesn't seem to be letting it get him down at this point, because just, like, oh, yes, I want to be a superhero. And the dean's like, you're not doing so great, Tabita. You keep on failing. You've failed the provisional license exam like 4 times. You're probably gonna have to drop out soon. I don't think you could do. I don't think you could be a hero. So, and his mother is there with him, crying her eyes out. Fear not, mother. I shall endure, undaunted. It's nice to have that attitude, buddy, but sometimes the facts are staring you right in the face, and you gotta acknowledge that things aren't going so well. Academic life isn't for everyone, guys.
It doesn't even seem like it's just academic. It seems like just life in general he wasn't really built well for.
I don't know how the hell this guy managed to maintain this positive attitude at this point, because clearly he didn't get it from his family.
She throws a goddamn cheese grater in his head in one panel here.
To make matters even worse, after he admires another student from afar, like, oh, there's Takeshita over there has already gotten some offers from agencies, but fear not, I shall endure and also succeed. But one day he's just kind of walking around and he sees that window washer is going to fall from the sky, and he springs into action. He tries to use his elastic ability to make stuff to cushion their fall, but he only ends up interfering with another hero who's trying to save the guy, so he actually helps to cause the guy to become injured. He gets expelled from school. His family is distraught. His mom ends up throwing shit at him.
Yeah, it's
is that a cheese grater or is that a TV remote?
Maybe it is a remote. It looks like it might be a cheese grater, though. It looks like she's about to throw milk at him afterwards. Like, so I don't know.
Just anything that comes to hand. Get out of here, you!
It is a remote. You're right. It's not a cheese grater. But then she's about to throw a book at his face.
We always keep the cheese grater by the TV. Come on.
You want some fucking fresh cheese, fresh grated cheese on your nachos when you're at the desk. You don't want to. You don't have to go out of your seat to get that.
He has such an elegant upbringing, Chris. So 4 years go by. He's now 22. He's underemployed, which means he's just kind of like going back and forth between part-time jobs. And he actually happens to come across Takeshita, the classmate from back in high school, who is now a superhero. And so Gentle, he's now sporting some facial hair. And he says, hey, Takeshita, you've gone independent. That's fantastic for you. Hey, we were in the same class. So did you remember? I mean, it was held back a year, but we were in the same class. And Takeshita's just like, sorry, who are you? And more than anything else, this is the thing that dashes Gentle's dreams. Because he had always said that I am going to end up doing something so great. I'm going to be such a great hero that my deeds will land me in the history books. And this guy who knew him personally, and it's only been a few years, has no idea who he is. Granted, he does look quite different with the beard and the mustache and the longer hair, but that's understandable. You just be like, oh, he doesn't. I'm just going to be forgotten by everyone forever. And so he refuses to allow this to happen and instead decides to become a villain since he can't become a hero. Then we cut back to the fight for basically the rest of the chapter between Gentle and Deku. Gentle's getting more and more worked up because he's like being mocked. He feels as though he's being mocked by Deku at this point. He says, oh, if you find me unprincipled, then you can mock me. I can live with that. Meanwhile, Labrava's freaking out because even though they're using lover mode, this isn't the way that Gentle usually acts. He doesn't usually resort to this level of violence. They just kind of use this as a last resort in order to make an escape as opposed to go into a head-to-head confrontation. Deku does the stop a punch with your bare hand thing, and then says, "Nobody's mocking you, gentle criminal," as they headbutt, I guess. They just kind of go...
They get really close. They're tense.
It's tense. Mm-hmm. This chapter gave me feelings, Chris.
I could see why. I could definitely see why. This chapter didn't do a whole lot for me in terms of giving me feels. I think I was more moved just by the La Brava chapter of just the small, like, throw out line of just like, I consider killing myself because everyone I knew hated me. And I was just like, Jesus. And I guess with this one, there is still an element like he was literally, it looks like, tossed out and abandoned by his family. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a lot of big heavy weight there too. It just didn't catch me in the exact same way, but I super dig it. It does help to explain why he's a villain. Like, that's definitely clear now as to, because he never seemed like a bad person, but this clearly shows that he is definitely a selfish individual. Mm-hmm. And that his strife has all been motivated entirely by his own self-worth of his, like, legacy. So it makes sense that he would be this way. But hopefully this is somebody who can maybe be turned out of this situation to become kind of like a good guy or something like this from the end of it. Who knows? But I definitely dug it. I will say, though, it is tough to tell what he's doing at times, just art-wise. I've had a lot of issues telling. Like, I still don't really know what the Gently Sandwich is. Like, is it, I guess, one rubber air pocket that blasted to another rubber air pocket, and it's just like a buildup off of that?
I think it's because they're layered on top of each other. The elasticity overall is stronger. So if you put someone underneath it, it's rebounding them against the ground stronger.
But it looks like there's breaks in the air there, and there's this, the sound effect of like bloom, 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 bloom that's going on there. Mm-hmm. So it feels like something's being like almost like a railgun kind of like logic to it. Like the rebounded elasticity is meant to be like projecting something through it, like a force, I assume, and like amplifying it. But if that's the case, I don't understand why he's stuck underneath it later, because it's like, it's just, even though it's elastic, it's still just air. So I don't know. It's tough to read some of the action in this chapter, which has always kind of been an issue with My Hero Academia's artwork. It's very cool, but oftentimes the actual kinetic visual is hard to grasp at points.
I will say that this didn't catch me nearly as hard as La Brava's backstory, because this is, the turning to villainy story. You're supposed to understand why he fell and came to this. Whereas the previous one was establishing this is why La Brava and Gentle care about each other so much, and how much they mean to each other. It's a lot more significant of, this is why La Brava loves Gentle so much, as opposed to, this is why Gentle is kind of a dick.
I mean, you do feel sympathy for him, because it is hard to ignore the fact that all of his motivation was at least to be a good hero. And that's, that's the same motivation that a lot of the characters in this series have in and of themselves, There's not many that are specifically like, oh, I'd help people even if I wasn't a hero. It's a world where hero worship is like a foundation of society, essentially. So it is hurtful to see that this is a guy who believed in himself so much it didn't work out, so much so his parents literally threw him out of the house. But it is, as you said, it's a story to explain why somebody's returned to villainy, which is already kind of a more like a harder story to invest into when the other person's story is like, this is the only person I've ever been able to love and give myself over to, like in
the
trust and faith.
The only person who has ever accepted my feelings and accepted me for who I am. Yeah.
But I definitely do like it as a companion piece to that, because it does help to explain why Gentle appreciates La Brava so much, because he knows what it's like to be kind of discarded and ignored.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, with that done, we're going to move straight into Food War Shekiyeki no Soma 259, The Way They Do Things. This is how they do it, Chris.
This is how we do it.
Don't like that one. All right. We actually begin this with a brief flashback to Ariana and her childhood, when she was a cute little girl with pigtails. She looks so adorable and happy and not traumatized yet. She has made this dish for Senzemon, and she's like, I worked really hard on this, and I'm super confident in it. It's gotta be my specialty. And Senzemon's like, nah, you haven't found your specialty yet. Sorry, kid. Pout. There's a pout sound effect. So everyone's like, what the fuck is Soma thinking? Because previously he had said that in order to overcome Tsukasa and Rindo, they need to actually compete with each other. His appetizer is actually a challenge to Erina to defeat him. At this point, also people start bringing up, so does Erina like not actually have a specialty then? Which is something that we've kind of been talking about every now and again. Like, what the hell does Erina do? She's just kind of like perfect, you know? And Hisako explains like, yeah, she's made all these multiple attempts to actually create a specialty dish, but Senzemon has never awarded the distinction of specialty to any of them. Which I feel like I don't think that this has really been something that's been emphasized enough in Food Wars to be bringing up now. The specialty. Everyone has their signature style, but it's not like, you know, it's felt like a style as opposed to a signature move, if we're going to make the martial arts equivalent, you know.
Specialty always seemed to be more about their preferred style as opposed to specialty. Like,
because you know, like Soma's whole thing is, you know, like homestyle short order stuff, but he just started talking about his specialties a couple of chapters ago.
Like, I can get certain, because like French cooking is Tsukasa's style, I guess.
Right.
But venison is his specialty.
Mm.
His venison dish is labeled as specialty. I feel like there needs to be a different word than specialty, because specialty feels too interchangeable with style to me. Like, because they're chefs. They have to cook in all styles. They can't just be like, well, I just do pastries. And someone's like, I want something with salmon in it. Like, well, there you go, salmon ice cream. Deal with it. Like, they make everything in that.
This isn't even a pastry.
But they have the style that they're most proficient with. You know, food bowls, meat, Italian, things like that. And then you could say they have trademark, maybe is a better word, like trademark dishes. Like, this is their boom. Like, this is their top thing. Specialty is just hard because I feel like it's difficult to consider the word specialty when it comes to a chef and assume that means one specific dish, as opposed to that's their innate kind of unique style.
See, does the moveset just, like, you know, contain a whole bunch of one type of attack, or do, after you've reached your, you know, your limit break or whatever the fuck ever you want to call it, and then you hit the unleash move, then is that your special move, you know? So
yeah, what one does their?
If you're going to make the equivalent in the combat, then make sure that you're actually distinguishing your terminology so that you at least relate that concept.
Let's put out a change.org petition, because those are the best days to get changed on.
They always work.
Change.org petition. Food Wars should change specialties to limit breaks, because it's already a stupid, goofy, over-the-top series. Limit break sounds fucking great, because I understand that immediately. Or Final Smash. If you want to get a Nintendo crossover going on, Soma shows up in the new Smash Brothers, that's fine. But let's just do that, because that makes more sense to me than specialty.
What did the Street Fighter series start doing a couple of one or two games ago? The Rush or V Trigger. That's it.
Is it? Oh, it's also a move in New Japan, isn't it?
That's Kenny Omega's move because he's a giant video game nerd.
Okay, so there you go.
He calls his finisher One-Winged Angel. I mean, like, come on.
That is true. That is true.
Anyhow, so Soma has basically laid out this challenge as his idea for how they're going to win. Beat me in a Shokugeki. And Aaron is like, this is stupid. I see that teamwork does not exist in your personal lexicon. And Soma just says, no. I mean, come on. We kept on arguing during all that training, but hey, isn't this just so us? I love what a stupid teenager he is, honestly. That's very consistent with him. And Aaron is just kind of like, You're such an idiot. But like in a fond kind of way now. So I don't know, this works for them.
I'm going to tell you, guys, if a girl ever says you're such an idiot and she smiles at you, that's your fucking in. You've reached peak love at that point.
Well, it depends on the kind of smile that she gives you. If it's the kind of smile that Erina's given Soma, she's fucking into him. All right.
I would say in general, if a girl says you're such an idiot and smiles, it's a good sign. Generally, people say you're such an idiot and then they sigh and they run away from me. Because I'm like the Boogie Monster. It doesn't help I go into my Boogie Monster cosplay from Toad's Hammer Earl. I turn invisible, sneak up on people, and I go, ooh, ooh. I don't get the reference, but it's still scary.
So Erina goes over to the stuff that she's been preparing. She suddenly starts using French terminology. I don't remember her doing that very much in the past, but whatever. She's like, the main ingredient, c'est bon. The sauce, non. The fond, c'est bon. Like, what the fuck are you doing, Erina? When were you the French specialist? So she calls over to Soma, hey, a lot of what I've been making right up until now is no good. So I'm just going to put it into storage containers, and if you want to fucking make it into a midnight snack later, knock yourself out. She literally says that. I like that she is like considers that the food that she's been making is like, this is still good, so don't throw it away. I mean,
yeah. She just pushes it off the table, worthless now.
The food that she was making was worth $5,000. So she says, all right, I've got to make a brand new dish, and we don't have a lot of time to do this. So I'm calling in the favor that you basically owe me from all the taste testing that I was doing for your dish. So you got to help me out with all this stuff. Do it, okay? And they've only got 10 minutes to put a new dish together. So it's fortunate that the main ingredient is okay, because otherwise they'd be fucked. We threw this in the microwave for you. It's my specialty.
Now, 100%. Don't try to lie. If one of us was forced to do a shokugeki, our specialty would involve something that just came out of the microwave as well. I'm like, I made tacos, but I overestimated the time I needed, and they were done 2.5 hours early. So I heated it in the microwave for you. They're just like...
What did you do in order to prepare this? I chopped up a breast of chicken, and I put it on a tamale, and I put random chopped up ingredients and sauces in it. It took me all of 10 minutes to do. You had 3 hours to prepare. Yes.
I spent that time working on my Fire Emblem 7 replay. I'm doing Hector hard mode, and I will assure you, I did not succeed on that mission. I had to restart 3 battles from the end. I was quite displeased.
Well, the taco is acceptable, but the fact that you didn't finish Hector hard mode is disappointing.
They're just like, you're not even worth Florina. I'm like, no! She comes in so late. Why would anyone use her? She's just there to get the supports out of.
Senzemon starts thinking to himself while Erina and Soma prepare food. And Senzemon explains that Erina's divine tongue allows her to take any dish and elevate it to perfect deliciousness. Thus, in a way, every dish she creates is a specialty, and at the same time, none of them are. A dish that surpasses perfectly delicious. Only in a dish such as that will we see Erina's true face. And when she is finally capable of creating such a dish, then... ... And then we see Erina dashing around, really kind of chaotically moving around, and everyone is observing like, hey, this is not the way that she usually cooks. Usually she's like graceful and reserved, and this is very forceful and kind of hectic. She is storming her way to a new dish, trampling over everything in her path, which is actually a moment that I really appreciate because it really feels like the first time Erina has like ever gotten serious when cooking. And the way that it's described, I feel like almost everyone has that thing that they can relate to this, where you've done something so much that you can do it very easily and calmly. But then if things get crazy, then you know all the stuff you that is unnecessary to the process that you can cut out and just kind of rely on instinct to go through it. If you just practice doing something over and over and over again, then you know how to do it better than you usually do, basically. Azami is still confident and arrogant because it's like, whatever, that appetizer sucked. It doesn't matter what she makes. And Erin is thinking to herself while she prepares the dish, what I have now that I did not before, if I am unable to pinpoint what that is, I'm certain I won't be able to make my specialty. What path have I walked to reach where I am now? And she remembers some of the things that people in her life have been saying, what Azami's been saying, what Alice said about, hey, if Azami hadn't done that stuff, maybe we could have been friends. Megumi saying, hey, I'm glad that we've become friends. And Senzimon saying, that Azami guy that your dad is such a fucker, just rebel against him, do shit.
Where are my pants? You lost them in a Shokugeki 4 weeks ago. Oh! Should find them.
But she also remembers her training with Soma, the arguments that they would get into, and finally, Azami saying hey, only the flavor and speak only the flavor and whether or not it's correct. Have no mercy for an imperfect dish. But then that's contrasted with Soma saying, if it's no fun, if you already know what you're going to get. And Arina concludes, it can be this and nothing else. This is the greatest possible recipe that's capable of beating Yukihira. And she doles out the dish. They present it to Azami, and that's where the chapter ends. So
right. He looks at the plate. He's like,
there's nothing on this dish.
These are Reese's peanut butter cups. She's like, have you tried them? They're pretty good. He's like, I don't care.
You got chocolate in my peanut butter. You got peanut butter in my chocolate.
And thus, our tandem dish is done. He's like, I don't like the texture of the peanut butterness. Oh, shit.
Also, what's this weird waxy thing? You didn't take the cup off of it. What?
He's like, you're supposed to serve me the dish finished. I don't do extra work.
So you just don't eat with a fork and knife or anything? It's like, yes, everything. Why do you think I wear gloves all the time? Everything is eaten by hand, even soup.
It's like, you think I bought these assassin gloves to kill people? No, I am deathly afraid of utensils of any kind.
Azami, don't you want this spoon? Ah, get it away from me!
Shoots him 7 times. Get away!
It's going to gouge out my eyes!
What were we talking about? What series?
I really like this chapter.
All right. I like this.
It's, this is the moment that we've been building up to with Arina for years. And, all the little tiny bits here and there of her bonding with people, of her realizing things about her life are all leading up to this. And this feels like the appropriate kind of breakthrough for her. It feels the way that it should, with her abandoning her more rigid style of doing things, not just in her life, but in her cooking technique. And it feels like it all comes together. So I really look forward to seeing the way that this all concludes, because it seems as though this is the path to victory. Unless Asami's just like, it's delicious, but no, fuck you, I'm the judge and I say my team wins.
I'm annoyed, Nick, because the Giants just put out their schedule, and the first one I could find was an emoji schedule. I can't tell the fuck we're playing. Giants at City of Clouds? What the fuck's that supposed to be? Giants versus the poison symbol? That could be 3 different teams. Giants at Swords.
That's probably Buccaneers.
I don't believe it is. It's super late in the season.
Maybe Raiders?
I don't know. I'm trying to find another schedule. Oh, that's Titans, Nick.
That's ridiculous.
Didn't you know that's the Titans? Also, the horse means the Colts, not the Broncos.
I understand your annoyance now.
There's just paw prints. There's like 6 cat teams.
How many cats do you think there are?
There's like 6 cat teams. How am I supposed to know which one of the paw prints? I'm sorry. I had to get my anger out. Let's talk about Dr. Stone. This one just says enemy team.
Oh, God. All right. Let's move on to Dr. Stone, Chris.
Let's do it. It's time to get stoned.
It's time for emoji of a rock with emoji of a stethoscope.
I'm like, clay blob, little dangly bit. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Look, I understand that there's a trillion emojis and some of them actually have meaning attached to them, but you can't have every single one have a deep, significant meaning that is unique to it. It's too many. There's a reason we don't use fucking hieroglyphs for language, guys.
I'm really curious now. I want to find out who is supposed to be... Oh, the 49ers are Cloudy City, by the way.
How many cloudy cities do you think there are?
I don't know. I thought it was the Bears. At least it's Windy City. I kind of got that, but then I saw a bear below that, so I was like, I don't know. You'd think you'd put a bridge or something.
Last time on Dr. Stone, they perfected the light bulb, which means that they can stick them on their heads and go mining. Yay! We get a 2-page color spread at the beginning, which is like, oh, we're going mining. Check us out, exploring this cave, going spelunking. And Gahak is like, look at my ass once more. See the way that the shorts cling to it.
I was less distracted by that and more very touched by how adorable Suika is in her little explorer outfit. I was like, good job, you go exploring.
She looks very gangly in that image, too.
She's just a little terrifying also because the light just reflects through her glasses. So that's something that would be really terrifying. Also, the old guy's behind them, like,
he's just gonna go
arms. Like, he's doing, like, the mystical villain pose, like the one behind you, lurking.
I am vengeance. I am the knight. So Chrome's like, all right, I'm gonna go get us some awesome minerals and stuff. Is there anything in particular that I should be getting so that we can invent stuff? And Seika's like, well, what we're missing in order to invent the cell phone? Well, no, we're actually not missing anything. We actually got everything that we need.
Well, shit.
But Chrome just decides, all right, I'm gonna go grab some more stuff, because Senku does say, well, I guess we could use some more copper, you know. And so he heads off on his own. Meanwhile, Senku and Kaseki get to work trying to make vacuum tubes, the precursor to computers. But they immediately start having a bunch of trouble because a lot of the parts of the light bulb, the basically perfected vacuum tube, which is essentially like a modified light bulb, keep on breaking. This has to do with the heat causing certain parts of it to expand, and that causes the parts that are wrapped around those parts to have to be forced apart and break. They work more and more, and eventually Chrome returns, and he's got some copper, which allows them to progress some more, because then they can make a hollow tube out of the copper in order to fit it inside of one part of it. And so then when the copper expands, it expands inward instead of outward. But then something else breaks, and they're like, what the fuck? The filament's burning away. And they try and try and try, and nothing is working. And so Chrome's like, okay, well, we need a stronger material for the filament then. So what do we use? And Senku says, there is nothing that we can use in this era that will actually work. And he's like, out of ideas, basically. Like, you know, we've reached a dead end after coming this far. Everyone goes through looking through the basket of all the stuff that Chrome has brought back from the caves. And Senku's like, no, there's nothing. No. Some girl's like, what about these pretty jewels? Those are actually beetle carcasses. And then freaking Ginro's like, what about this rock? It's black and so round. That's shit. Literally animal shit. Suika keeps on staying up through the night looking through stuff because she has a little bit of knowledge from playing in the woods and stuff about what stuff looks like. And eventually, Gen, while it's really early in the morning, goes and grabs Senku. For some reason, pulling out the hole, he's like, ooh, spooky flashlight! Because he just likes to fuck with people, I guess. And is like, hey, it's the new year, so everyone's going to go and watch the first sunrise of the new year. So everyone gathers out on a cliff to overlook everything. And Suika's still got one of the stones with her, and when the sun comes up, it glows a radiant blue, which is a really cool little shot of her holding out this gem-encrusted stone and coming off it, which is a piece of she-light. Which Senku realizes, hey, that's actually a really rare ore, and we can actually use that to make modern day filaments. We can make it into tungsten. It can't be beat by heat. It's the strongest known metal in our universe, which I guess that depends on what you qualify as strongest. But anyway, it's very useful to them.
Because I say America's the strongest. USA! USA! USA!
Anyway.
I don't actually know what America is. They're like, oh, that's the cancer of of chemical elements. I'm like, oh no.
So Senku and Chrome prepare to set off, and they've got one headlamp set left to go down the caves. And various people, speak up. It's like Yokaka says, I've got to train our warriors. I can't go with you. Kindra says that he'll go if they ask him to. Yenra's like, caves are scary. And they're like, hey, Magma, why don't you come with us? Because Senku decides, you're really strong. We've got to carry a whole bunch of fucking rocks back. And so, yeah, we're going to go and play nice come on and play nice with our dig team. Let's go and get some treasure. And we get this shot as if it's a video game. They're traveling around the world map, and the little Magma is saying, "What do you mean play nice?" What? I'm glad we're getting follow up with Magma. In general, this chapter didn't do a whole lot for me. I like the shot with the she light. That's about it.
I dug it. I think it's a cool chapter to give a moment to both not Senku, Chrome and Sueka. I think it's kind of cool to see a combo thing, even if it's unintentionally. It realizes they're helping one another, but the fact that they together managed to find this victory, and I also like seeing Senku at a loss. This is the first time he's like, crap,
or a dead
without
end.
this, yeah, I don't know what to do, and it's interesting seeing that. He doesn't stop thinking it, but it's interesting to see what's going to happen there. Plus, I'm also just kind of super intrigued to see Magma with Senku. I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago, we're going to get to a point where Magma's going to be part of the team. This is how, Inagaki kind of writes his series. The Haha brothers were the worst bullies around, and then they became treasured members of the team. So it'll be interesting to see if that's what kind of narrative he goes with Magma or not. I'd be pretty cool to see that.
I look forward more to the follow-up than throughout this chapter. So
that's fair enough. All right. Let's go over to We Never Learn, question 59. Sometimes a genius struggles with a limited X.
X equals vocabulary. I completed that sentence.
Oh, look at you, Nick. Maybe vocabulary fills in the mold then. Let's go back to previous chapters and just put in vocabulary and see if it works.
You see, the real issue is that the genius suffers from a limited vocabulary. That's where there's X in all those chapter titles. There's oh, god damn it, what's the fucking word here? I'll just put in an X and then figure it out later.
Yeah, well, it wasn't actually a naming scheme. It was somebody
it's,
a rose by any other X smells just as sweet.
What's the word? Fuck. How's that phrase go? God damn it.
Fuck, I was leaving X. I'm sure I'll remember later. So, this chapter starts off with Ogata and Fumino walking in on what looks like Takamoto and Yuiga about to have a love confession, but instead they're practicing their English because Takamoto screams out, "This is a notebook!" And Yuiga's like, "Yes! It's your homework notebook!" And what we find out
is that the way that you distinguish between translated Japanese and just English? Is that they scream the English?
They're screaming. Every statement has an exclamation part at the end of it, or exclamation point at the end of it. They're clearly actually screaming about it. And this chapter,
Americans are just so excited about everything, Chris.
Yeah, and our tiny eyes, as we find out later in the chapter. So this chapter is all about the fact that Yuiga is teaching Takamoto about her English, and he mentions like, all right, so you just have to learn to speak it a little bit more because she may use it for an entrance exam at the university she wants to go to. So he's like, all right, introduce yourself, and she's doing it, but she's a little nervous with it. She's like, oh, I like to I swim really well, and I also like to cook. And this is really traumatic for me because this is entirely how my mom communicates with me nowadays. Aww. Where it's her just like, and I'm in there like, la, 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 screw. And I'm like, shower mom? No. And I'm like, all right, well, this is going to be 15 minutes of my life I'm going to have to spend trying to figure out this depressing charade. Turns out the dog's stuck in the washing machine. I wish you just showed me it. And Yuiga's like, wow, your language is actually like, your grammar isn't bad, but your confidence is fucking plummeted. Like you get panicked and robot. So let's do a game. The entire rest of the day, we'll just speak in English, and whoever breaks it first has to buy the other one a steamed bun. So they're spending the day going through in English, and they're having a little bit of a tough time because Takamoto just can't seem to get comfortable. He thinks maybe it's just her language, but we all know it's probably partially also because she has feelings for him and it's awkward for there. But a little cute doggy shows up, and she knows those words. Very, 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 very cute. Which I assume is the first word she learned, so she could talk to all the cute doggos out there. And
because dogs only speak English, that's why Pero ran away from home.
Exactly.
If only he had actually understood that, she was just trying to help.
I don't know if we actually find out in this chapter what happens to this dog.
Nope.
That's distracting. It's scary. She's actually talking to the dog, which is like, oh, where are you from? What is your name? And Yuiga says, your language skills are excellent. However, Takamoto thinks she hears that your lingerie is excellent. And she gets really nervous because she's like, oh my God, did you see my undies? Did I wear a cute one today? Oh, that's not the point. Yuiga, you're so perverted. And they're having like a scream match about how he's not perverted. And then, yes, he is. And there's just a mom walking by who's like, fuck. This is embarrassing. Like, I think there are people who have passed by again because the kid's like, Mama, it's them again. It's those weirdos who can't keep the fucking voices down.
They probably showed up in a previous Iruka and Yuiga chapter because it seems like they have a lot of these kinds of, awkward moments between them.
Mm-hmm. So I do find it kind of funny that Takamoto's like, prove it. And he's like, fine, I'm not perverted because, and then he thinks back to all the times he's accidentally walked in on her naked. And he's like, I give up. However,
yeah, it's pretty great.
Iruka thinks that he's given up on the game, so she's like, oh, you give up? Yay, I win! And he's like, no, and you just lost because you spoke Japanese first. And she's like, you tricked me. He's like, really? So she has to pay for the buns, and he's going in to get them, and she's down there, she's petting the dog, because it's a good dog, when two English speakers. I don't think they specify that they're American, but
they're foreigners, though.
I believe they must be American because they talk about having a barbecue later. And it's weird that the interpretation of English-speaking foreigners is that they have like very chiseled faces and very small eyes. I don't know why. I was very distracted by this. Like the foreigners have extremely tiny faces in comparison, it feels like. They ask for directions. She provides it to them. And they understand, so she's happy her English worked out. And then they start trying to ask her out, basically. We're having a barbecue party with friends. Would you like to join us, beautiful, nice lady? And she's like, oh, no, I can't do that. And Yuiga, swoops in. He's just like, well, what do you think you're doing? And he's like, oh, what's the relationship between you two? And Yuiga's like, there's no need to be afraid of the foreigners. Why not just tell the truth? And he says, I guess he's thinking this. He's saying, she is my precious study friend, But when he actually speaks it, he says, "She is my precious steady." Obviously being taken as steady girlfriend kind of thing. So they're like, oh.
Which Iruka realizes as well.
Yes. So they're just like, we should have known a gorgeous girl would be taken. Take good care of her, buddy. Goodbye. Ciao. One guy's like, "Fweet foo," which I don't even know what the fuck. That dude's insane. Clearly there's one normal dude and one insane guy.
Maybe he's wolf whistling. You know, he's like, yeah, you kids go have at it.
Yeah. Woo! Which is really creepy because they're kids still at this point. I mean, they're strangers in general, which is already unnerving. I like to think he just said "fweet foo."
Chris, I think they're a couple.
These two guys?
Yes.
Okay. Why is that? Give me your reasoning.
Because they're way too old for Iruka. And 2, they think it's adorable that there's this young couple. And 3, either they are gay or they're European. It's one or the other. Or both.
They might be both. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Maybe these guys will come up in a further chapter and they'll have a conversation.
I think that they really did. I think that they really did just want to invite Iruka to a good time with all their gay friends.
They're like, we have delicious barbecue. They're like, honey, there's going to be barbecue falling off the bone, off the walls, off the ceiling. It's everywhere. It's a house of barbecue. So come on over to it, Queen. Yeah.
Also, what's the other conclusion? They were both trying to pick her up? Like, come on.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Look, like, situations like this in most manga, usually they're always the creepiest versions of themselves. They're almost always like, hey, they talk like Benzine too, in my version. Oh, this girl's cute. We should both pick her up and have sex with her together, and then we will dump her body into a ravine where she will never be found. And then we will destroy the stock market.
Does that mean that they're going to kill her with sex?
Yes, because they're always the worst version of themselves.
So does that mean the sex is so good that she dies, or the sex is so bad that she dies?
It doesn't matter. They're evil. Because when two dudes come up and try to pick up a girl in the manga
with sex,
then we're going to kill her with all of our sexual pleasure. Anyways, so they leave. Yuiga turns to Iruka, and I kind of love this exchange because she, for an entire page, has absolutely no dialogue, just expressions and actions. So she's very shy. Her cheeks are blushing, and she's like holding onto her heart, and she's like swallowing, and she's like and then she smiles, gets down, starts stretching, like does like the twist, doing like the lunges, and then just fucking books it. And he's just like, where are you going? Why did you stop talking? Go back. And then we cut away to Iruka in her house, and she's singing about how her homework notebook is very, very white every day. Oh, yay. And her mom is just like, well, I'm glad you seem to have lost your shyness about speaking English, but is that what you're going to say in your interview? That's a chapter.
Iruka has a lot of really funny and cute reactions in this chapter. It's very silly, the situations they get into, but we never learn in a nutshell. It was a very okay chapter for me.
I definitely enjoyed it. It's one of those things where like the contrivance or the misunderstanding is like an obnoxious one because he knows the word, like he thinks it, and it's not like, I guess it's one of because it says in his thought it's using the English text. So it'd be different if it was him trying to think of it and like it's just the translation, the fact that it's, an English speaking situation and we're an English speaking language. But like it's in the English subtitles there. So he knows the word, it seems like, but he just screws it up on the way out. And it's just like, it's different than her mishearing language skills as lingerie. I kind of understand that. And I guess there's enough precedence to the fact that maybe that's a real possibility, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that one was just like a little bit of like okay. But, in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty small. And I adore like the reaction of her just being so nervous. And then just without speech at all, just sitting there stretching before she could fucking book it. I don't know. I find that very amusing.
Let's move on to the Promised Neverland, chapter 83, Answer After 13 Years. Let's see if we can get through this one a little quickly. Last time, Pepe came in and saved just Jillian and Nigel. And he's like, I have a plan. Let's get Jillian to where she can get medical treatment. Meanwhile, Bayon is actually tracking behind them. And he's like, I knew that you were going to try and sneak attack me. So I pretended that you would that you had actually lost me so I could follow you back to your leader because I know you're going to go to a safe place out of our reach, meaning your base. I'm going to follow you and kill everyone. I'm the smartest one here. Then we cut over to where Luvis is with Emma. And Luvis has a flashback to when he first encountered Lucas. And Luvis actually was like, I see. So everyone is all confused by that explosion. And it's going to take them a while to get here in the forest. So until then, we'll have about 15 minutes where no one's going to bother us. So I'm going to tell you how to kill us. He actually just flat out just like, here, this will be more interesting this way. Here, I'm going to take up my mask, and if you can, like, hit me in the eyes, that's our weakness. That's where our core is. That's what kills us. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes, and you can attack me as much as you want. And you can have fucking weapons. Here's some fucking guns. Just throws them out in front of him. Try and kill me. You can invite to try and attack me, too.
You fucker!
You can attack. Oh, what's that guy's name? Fuck. The other kid, the black-haired kid, whatever. You can get him too.
You can invite old guy along as well. He's like, right now he's actually like 17. He's like, yeah, old guy. I'm pretty okay with that nickname. I think it's gonna stick.
I'm just gonna identify myself by that name from now on, just to annoy you.
Unless his last name and his real name turns out to be like Mufasa Odepius, the super soldier Skywalker or something like that, there's no way. I'm gonna be so pissed when they're like, and it's his name,
Brad.
Yeah, Hankerson, and I'm just like, fuck yourself. There's no reason to keep alluding, like, unless his name is like fucking Neverland or something like that. Like, why keep hiding?
He's the promised one.
He's the promised Neverland. Like, I'm just like, why do you keep hiding it from us? There's no name that can be revealed at this point that's gonna be that cool.
God. So Luvis offers Lucas this chance. Just fucking try and kill me. Do it. And then he like finishes telling the story and he's just like, ah! That was a fucking good time. So Emma says, hey, let's do that same game then. You know, fair hunt for 15 minutes and you want to attack me for the first 10 minutes. And so Lou's like, all right, you want the freaking same sport that I tried back then? Nah. I mean, you're only going to try and buy time anyway, right? That's exactly what Lucas did back then. So even if I agreed to it, you probably won't actually do anything because it's just a waste of your bullets. I know you don't think you can kill me on your own. Lucas did think that too. And also I took his arm off, so he knows that damn well that he can't do that. So if I were him, the next time I would do is I would use everything I've got to hit me. So you being here is just buying time until that for your all-out attack. So I'm just gonna sit here and wait. Just like props down on like this little wall. But, yeah, we're gonna wait the 15 minutes, right? 15, 10 minutes, whatever you want. Yeah, we'll just wait for your plans, and then something exciting will happen. But then he warns Emma, hey, by the way, if your friends aren't here after 10 minutes, then you're going to have to entertain me alone.
Dun.
So, hubris. But I do love the detail that Luvis one day was just like, this is boring. Hey, kid, this is how you kill us. Have some guns. Shoot me here. I'm bored. We'll cover to Bayon. Bayon finds an underground vault. He finds a secret entrance inside of a tree. I was like, all right, so the base must be here. The leader is hiding under the forest. He takes this freaking glaive thing and chops a tree apart in order to climb inside of it. Just starts going through this tunnel. And I love how he's just like, yes, this is a perfect plan. I am 10 feet tall and this tunnel is 9 feet tall, and my spear can barely move in these confined quarters. Clearly, I'm getting the drop on them. And of course, he comes around a corner. There's some people waiting there with freaking guns, and they launch an ambush to end the chapter. So that happened.
Yeah, that's a chapter. I don't really have too much to say on the We Never Learned or the Promised Neverland this week. It's just sort of like, it's okay. I'm waiting for things to happen that aren't involving these other kids. Because again, I just can't like work up the care about him or about them.
This might be I think this is probably the most unexceptional chapter of the whole week out of the stuff that we normally cover. Honestly, it's just like, all right, next.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Let's talk about Seven Deadly Sins, chapter 263, Splitting Darkness. So this chapter starts off as Estarossa is going up against, I'm forgetting both of their names, the two archangels that aren't Ludashel. And we found out last week that they have their, the orders, I think they're called? Or what is it? They call them something. Forgetting their names. Graces. They have their graces. And one has the grace of the ocean and one has the grace of the tornado. So, they mentioned like, okay, you're keeping these poker faces on, but I can feel your hatred towards me. And, normally when those harboring feelings of hatred to me are faced by love, they're supposed to be unable to harm anyone. But I guess since you're archangels, you're kind of granted protection from the supreme deity. That makes sense. And they say in response, that's why it's so freaking weird that Mael got killed by you. What's the weird thing? And Estarossa has this great line. He's like, what's the weird thing you can't comprehend? And he just swoops in and just impales the one dude with his arm. He's like, obviously it's because I'm so strong. See?
I'm awesome.
Like he literally just impales the guy with his hand. We then cut away to inside of the Flamey Dog Inferno, which is the dog that Estarossa made last week that's just continuing to circle around Elizabeth and Derere. And Derere is just like, Esterossa's trying to trap us in here. And Elizabeth's like, girl, I got this. She summons Jonah's whale.
It's not a whale. It's a shark.
Whatever it is, it's fucking terrifying. It comes out of nothingness. I don't know where it came from. It devours the flames, eats it, and disappears into ethereal sparkliness. But what's left afterwards is nothing but ashes and emptiness. And Elizabeth's screaming out like, "What happened? What happened? Where is everybody?" And Derere is like, "Well, the flames of hell don't go out until they've consumed all of their fuel, flesh and bone alike. So, since all your friends are caught in it, they must be." And I like how she doesn't get to finish all like dramatic thing because Diane's like, Elizabeth, fine. Like, I'm so glad they didn't build it up to like a whole thing of like, is every other character in the series dead? Like, they might all be dead. No, we're fine. Don't worry. And it turns out Diane hid them all on the ground using her powers. And Howitzer complains about swallowing some sand. And I guess Gouela's just like, did it taste good? Sure. We cut back to the fight, and we see that the one archangel who has the power of the ocean literally just turns into water and disappears. So Estarossa's like, all right, I'll attack the other one then. And he goes to attack him, and he can't. There's something blocking him. Yeah, he's like, And he's saying, or the kid angel says, you think you can touch me? And he's like, nah, don't be so quick to judge my grace. I'll show it to you now. And he hits him with the tornado. And I love the expression he has, because it really does feel like half of his face just got fucking blasted by wind. It's like his lips are flapping up and his eyes got all squinty, but the other one's just in sheer like, oh, fuck me. And he goes through this tornado until he winds up in the ocean. And he gets up out of the ocean and he sees that he is in a vast ocean that is, rippling with tides, almost kind of like one caught in a storm. And they say, welcome to God's domain. It's a space created by our graces. And he says, well, I'll wreck this place like it's nothing. Like, I wouldn't if I were you. Struggle all you like. You can't escape. It'll be like spitting in the ocean or sighing at a tornado. And they kind of basically just brag about how revenge is going to be theirs because he's going to be torn apart by their powers. We see like different panels of him being, whipped around in the wind and then dunked and submerged, and lightning striking him as this final attack as he's like, it looks like raised up into a tornado that's crackling with thunder as he is hit by Enul's divine retribution. And the final panel is actually just a shot of what I believe is him being electrified. And that's a chapter.
So he's fine, right?
Yeah, he's good. He's going to walk this off.
Yeah.
He's going to walk this off. I do love this chapter. There's a lot of cool stuff, but I love that speech of just like, it'll be like spitting into the ocean or sighing at a tornado. Like, just like really hammering home to like, you're fucking worthless against our shit, buddy. And who knows? He might actually be fine. But I like that kind of phrase. It's like,
I have no doubts that he's going to come back from this and wreck their shit. It's probably going to be up to the third one to come in and save their stupid asses. So
it most likely will. It just reminds me a lot of that CM Punk promo when he was fighting The Rock at WrestleMania. He's like, "Your
arms are too short to box with God."
It's a great line, and that's definitely what I got reminded with this one. But I do like them showing off their power. I like them kind of showing like the terror of just being caught in a tornado and like a storm in the ocean like that. It's pretty cool. And pretty cool. And I like the fact that when Elizabeth got them out of that situation, they could have spent so much longer being like, all of them are gone. And be like, no, we're fine. So that's 7 Deadly Sins for this week.
I do like that Esterosa seems to just have resorted to the heart rip as his signature move. Just
he's like, if I get you first, you can't do anything.
But I look forward to seeing the next chapter because I'm really not so into these two particular Archangel characters. Just kind of like whatever.
They're there.
Think about their characters. So
yeah, all I remembered is that last week they mentioned one was ocean and one was tornado, and that's it.
All right, move on ahead to Black Clover. Page 153, The Desperate Path Toward Survival. So Mariana is continuing to fight 1-on-5, but things are really not going so well for her by this point. She is bleeding and her clothes are all ragged. Raya says, all right, this is enough of this stuff. I mean, come on, you're it's impressive that you're still standing, but come on, this is it. This is the end. So Mariana is like, final attack! And just burns everything surrounding her. Like all of the mana around her apparently just gets lit on fire, which seems to completely envelop all 5 of her opponents and just completely bathe the room in flame. Everything fades after a bit and reveals that mostly their clothing just kind of got burned, except for the women have
enough to protect their their modesty.
And Raya's like, unbelievable, all the way to the end. She passed out on her feet. She must really not want to go down. And Mariana is like, fight me, scrub.
I want to bring something up here. Because obviously this reminds me of a very awesome scene from One Piece. The death of Whitebeard, where he died standing up, and there's that great speech about all the battles, all the wounds he's took, but not in the end, not one of them was upon his back. That was a super awesome scene because him standing up top, proud and tall with all this damage behind it, but this pristine back. In contrast, Marieluna looks like she passed out mid taking a shit. Like she's in a squat with her fists, her fists clenched to the side, It is not a dignified moment for her at all. So I feel like next time she definitely is going to want to shape that up. Definitely go with something more dignified. Maybe do one where she's doing the Breakfast Club arm raise or something.
I just don't understand this part. So Raya is she passed out on her feet. And immediately Mariana says, hurry up and have at me.
Because she's so strong, Nick. She's so strong. Even when they think she's passed out, she's still awake. She's still fighting because she's badass.
Well, Raya says, this lady, she used up all her mana, passed out, and she's still talking. So which is it? Is she unconscious? Is she unconscious and somehow sleeping? Or is he just she passed out, fuck you, passed out.
He just like puts tape over her mouth, and, like closed eyes. It's like she's passed out.
Elves just don't know how humans sleep, I guess.
He's like, well, she's covered in blood, as the normal ritual of humans going to bedtime is. So, like, in his mind, he's just like, oh, honey, I'm super tired. Sploosh, time for bed. I coated myself in my blood.
Like a fucking little girl, like, has had too much sugar, so she's like doing cartwheels around the room. Isn't she adorable when she's sleeping?
It's one of those things where I get the idea behind it. It pushes the character a little too far. Like, imagine if after Zoro took all of Luffy's fatigue and pain at the end of I'm blanking on it. Thriller Bark. If he took all that pain, but then afterwards he was like, now let me do a couple push-ups because I'm still super strong. Like, I get it. He's strong. There's just something weird about being like, she passed out fighting against all 5 of us. Truly, she was a monster. She's like, I'm not done yet, bitches. I can still fight. I'm like, all right, you can tone it down a little bit. Just crank this just a little bit.
Maybe if like, you know, she had like this just like dead-eyed expression on her face. You know, she was technically still conscious, but she was not like cognizant of her surroundings. And Rai's like, holy shit, she's still not dead. We have to do everything we can right now to make sure that she dies before she even has a chance to recover, because we're not going to underestimate this girl anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a very slight tweak that can make worlds of difference, basically.
Or it could be like Ursa when she's like, I'll fight all 100 monsters. And you're like, I guess that's cool. I don't know. I just kind of got introduced to it, but I guess you did the best thing everyone else could do.
So they all start combining all their magic together, just like different elements all swirling around each other to make this huge fucking spear. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you could just walk up to her and like slit her throat.
And they're like, no, everyone start preparing your solar beam. Like,
one thing that has been
should one of us be prepared to strike immediately just in case something were to interfere? They're like, no, everyone's solar beam.
I'm just saying, like, you know, she's demonstrated that she has this understanding of mana detection stuff, and she uses that to avoid stuff. Do something that doesn't require mana. Just gonna done. Oh no, my ash magic can't deflect knives to the throat.
My one weakness.
Coming bursting through the wall, a trap seal goes off, and Zora and Asta come in. And Raya's like, you idiots, this lady bought you time with her life and you wasted it. And now you can all die together. Go on and eat this guy with trap magic who it's a good idea to throw something huge at.
Now, do they know he has trap magic at this point?
Yes, because he set all of his trap magic off when everyone burst in.
Then yeah, poor move on their part.
You get a brief flashback to when Asta and Zora were outside. And of course, Zora had said, hey, she did all this to make sure that somebody would survive. Don't make her sacrifice be in vain. And Asta follows up on that by saying, well, who said she gets to give up her life for stuff like that? Anyway, I've decided that we're all 3 going to survive. So he just decides, come on, let's do this. And Zora's like, look, even if you've got your black anti-magic form, you can't fight all 5 of them. And Asta's like, well, yeah, and that form also is drawn to massive magic sources, so it's really not great for running away afterwards. So, or rather, it's like he says it in such a way that Zora's like, well, don't brag about that. So it must be a weird way in the wording, tone. I don't know. So Asta brings up, like, what about that thing where you double magic and bounce it back? And Zora's like, oh, sure, for when they all launch spells at the exact same time. Like anything that convenient is going to happen.
She's like, there's no way. These elves have taken a millennia to think of all their plans as they rested dormant inside of all these souls with their grand leader Leash, who's been manipulating the very world itself behind our scenes for so long. There's like, they wouldn't have thought maybe we shouldn't all launch one giant attack at the same time in a world where fucking mirror force exists.
And he goes in and he just stands in front of Mary Leona and he's just like, oh, check it out. It did happen.
He's like, oh, you fucking fools.
Mine.
Like, it legitimately, it's 100%. It's the dude who's just like, I mean, he might have Mirror Force. Maybe I shouldn't play all my attackers now. Yeah, fuck it. What's the chance he has Mirror Force?
And a friend who once went to a tournament, and the guy had 2 big ass monsters on the field. So the other guy has 1 face down card, and so he's like, so he turns one of them to defense mode, and he has the other one attack, and the guy flips over Mirror Force. Like, and so after that happens and his attack is destroyed, he flips over his card at 0 gravity. It's a trap that automatically switches the positions of all the monsters. So his monster that he would place in defense mode, which didn't get destroyed by the Mirror Force, switches to attack and finishes the guy off. So like, that is 0 gravity, bitch.
Suck it.
So as this is happening, and Zora's like, I'll use my counter trap as opposed to my continuous trap or my normal trap, and in order to deflect it and double it. But then we get a flashback saying, it's like, I don't know if just doubling it's going to be enough to actually throw them off. So Asta's like, okay, in that case, I'll launch it back towards you. And he's got his freaking cleaver with him as the counter trap launches towards him. He deflects it back, and Asta's like, quadruple it! So Zora has to immediately use another trap spell in order to kick it back again, doubled again. But he's like, Jesus Christ, I didn't have time to prepare this properly, and this is way too much fucking power. So Asta comes in with him and swings his cleaver again so that together they launch it back. This is stupid. I love it.
I love this. Like, I don't care for Mary Leona being like, I'm so strong that even when I'm passed out, I can still talk and have consciousness. But I do love, like, I'll reflect it back. That's not enough. What if I reflect it back into your sword, you reflect it back into me, and I double it again, and it's fucking super quadrupled? Like, that's awesome.
That means quadrupled, Asta. Whatever!
He's like, I don't actually know what words mean. But I was a little bit confused that their plan seemed to be... it looks like the beam goes right by them. I guess the explosion catches them from behind, and they run...
It's so powerful that when it hits the wall behind them...
They make a hole in the ground and go through that.
Yeah.
I thought they went through the hole that they created.
No.
All right, there we go. All right, I guess that makes a little sense.
So, yeah, Asta's carrying Mary Leona's back, and he's like, let's get out of here! I am basically in full agreement with you. I don't really like the way that Mary Leona is kind of executed in terms of her concept, but this is freaking goofy, and I love it. I know, we'll do the Fox reflector spam.
Well, it helps too that, like, we actually get a sense that, like, oh, this is difficult. Like, it's strenuous for Zora to have to actually put up with this, and then he actually needs Asta's help in the end to do the second reflection. Like, it's a way to show that there's a limit to his power that's being tested, and he needs to find another way to get past it, and it used teamwork unity between them. And it's also, like, cartoonishly goofy in the shonen way, where he's just like, there's no way they'll be stupid enough to all send one giant attack at us at once. He just goes in like, oh man, I fucking love shonen villains.
Oh boy. All right,
Nick, let's talk about One Piece, where every character is dead.
Yeah, all the characters are dead. It is now the Zoro show, featuring Robin and Frankie and Usopp.
Mm-hmm.
And Momonosuke and Kinemon had to join the crew in order to replace the dead people. So anyway, on board the Thousand Sunny, which was blown up last chapter. Eventually, everyone was like, "All right, we did it. We killed those Straw Hats." Wait a minute, that's not the Straw Hat ship at all. They realized that it was actually the Sun Pirate ship. What happened was Wadatsumi, the giant fish man, actually dragged over Fisher Tiger's legendary ship, put it in the path of all the explosions and stuff while he swiped the Thousand Sunny down into underwater, put it in his mouth, and started swimming to safety. Unfortunately, Big Mom's forces realize too quickly what has happened, and everyone's like, "Fuck all of you!" Just starts sending waves of heat underwater, which attack Watatsumi, forcing him to surface, and he basically spits out the Thousand Sunny, and they keep on sailing away. Luffy, of course, is very upset that giant dumb friend of his is being hurt, but he says, "I did bad things on Fishman Island. Sorry. Gonna go die now."
He's a nice, good boy. Don't let him die.
Oven is caring none of for this and is just going to cook this giant man in the water if he doesn't get out of the way. We get a flashback from Watatsumi's perspective of, everyone agreeing to go and help Jinbei that was in his crew, Aladdin and oh gosh, what's his name? Freaking, it's a type of nut or something.
Cashew.
I think that's it. Something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, something like that. It's close enough. So everyone's agreeing that, okay, this is going to be bad. We can't all die giving our lives for Captain Jinbei, but this is what we have to do. We have to be his shield and die in his place. Some of us will have to survive in order to tell the story. But look, it's going to be dangerous here. If anyone wants to back out, do it now. I won't judge you, but be prepared for the consequences if you want to help out. And everyone stepped forward to help. So this is basically saying Watatsumi is prepared to give his life for that. And then freaking Aladdin just goes like, "Get down, Watatsumi! Come here!" And everyone just rises up onto the surface of the ocean to stand in the way of Big Mom's ship. And they say, "Jinbei and Straw Hats, just keep going. We're sending you off with our blessings." And they start to engage in battle. Aladdin goes hand to hand with Oven. The two armies essentially just start going after each other. On the Thousand Sunny, Jinbei starts, issuing, instructions like, "Hey, we got to bail the water out because all the water that's been taken onto the ship is slowing us down. Patch up the hole in the sail. Proceed as quickly as you can." And everyone kind of realizes, wait, why are you telling us all this, Jinbei? And Jinbei just says, "I cannot abandon them now." So Luffy's like, "All right, then we're going to stay and fight." And Jinbei's like, "No, I'll be the rear guard to ensure this ship gets away. At this point, if the mothership and fleet remain our heels, escape will be impossible. Allow me to hold down the end of the line." And he and Luffy just kind of stare at each other. Jinbei saying, "I will fulfill this duty and return alive." And Luffy says, "Don't forget, Jinbei, your captain is me now. We're not stopping the ship. We'll be waiting in Wano, so you'd better show up. Don't let even death stop you." Which is what the chapter title is. So still no Jinbei official Straw Hat, Chris.
Not yet. Well,
you thought it was going to happen. I think that might be chapter 1000 at this point.
I hope not, because here's the thing. Although it would be cool, I'm hoping he shows up not too far off into the future. I just they already did this though. It was this arc where they did a thing where they teased out fucking Jinbei early on, and he showed up to rescue the Straw Hats a third of the way through. Don't do this to me again, god damn it.
Meanwhile, Big Mom has regained herself because she's filled up on wedding cake. Her hunger craving is gone, so she's setting off on a frog king.
Yeah, he's the king of the frogs, Nick, don't you know?
I guess. And she's going off to go and freaking kill Luffy. And that's basically it. We cut around a little bit to everyone reacting to all this stuff. In the wake of Jinbei buying them time, the freaking ocean itself is basically assisting them in getting away as it churns. And puts a bunch of distance between them.
Well, it's worth noting that specifically that's the action of the fishermen. Jinbei has a line where he says, "When fishermen are serious, we can change the currents," which is pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah. So they're essentially summoning waves to help push the Straw Hat further away while preventing Big Mom's forces from following. So, boom. And then we finish on the note of the frickin' journalist bird guy who is flying around up above. So, go, Straw Hat, go! And Stussy is with him and is like, hey, why are you rooting for him? He's like, well, he's a contender. You see, in the near future, one of the worst generation is going to rise to claim the mantle of the Pirate King.
I'm very excited about this because I think what this also signifies is this is the end of the whole Cake Island arc.
Pretty much.
The Straw Hats are sailing away. This is that kind of teasing quote to be like, hey, we're now going into the future. And, let's see what happens from here. I'm pretty stoked about it. I think I like the end of this. This definitely gives this arc a different kind of ending than other arcs have had, where it's the Straw Hats literally just escaping with their life, essentially. And I think that's pretty awesome. I like the way Jinbei's hanging back. I'm hoping that we get soon some kind of impression or something that says like, oh, Jinbei will be back soon. Like, he's not going to be gone forever, because I'm really not that keen on the idea of waiting like another year and a half for him to be like part of the crew doing things. But I'm super excited to see this arc kind of come to an end here and like move forward into seeing what the rest of the crew is up to, getting to Wano, like doing all that stuff. Like, I'm really excited to get into that.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Let's name our favorites for this week. Favorite chapters and MVPs.
This one's tough. I guess for my favorite chapter, I'm going to give it to One Piece. I'm not like 100% sold on that. There's a couple that are relatively close, but I'm not 100% sold on it.
I am, let's see here. I'm actually going to give mine to Black Clover. I don't really like the bit with Mario Leona, but I do really like the bit with the reflecting the attack back and forth. So I'm just going to give it to that. For MVP, I am going to give it to Erina, because this feels like the appropriate thing for her character at this time. It feels like, okay, this is what the entire arc has been building to, and it feels like we're actually getting the thing that we've been looking forward to for a while.
Can we even call it an arc? Has it evolved to the point where it's now a saga? I agree, though. Erina is who I'm going to give it to.
All right. That's going to do it then, everyone. Thank you for putting up with the technical difficulties that causing delays and stuff this week. Hopefully everything will go according to plan next week. If you want to check out more Weekly Manga Recap, we record the show live now currently Thursdays at hopefully usually around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on twitch.tv/RoloT, smashcast.tv/RoloT. But if there are delays, you can follow us on Twitter for updates. He is at WMR Podcast at RoloT, and I'm at Nick F Time.
I should give a quick heads up, guys. There may be a possibility we may have to shift things next week, maybe a day or so in forward, just to space it around. But we'll let you know if that's happening or not.
You can check out our past episodes as well on weeklymangarecap.podbean.com. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes. You can leave a comment or rating on there. Subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you do all that stuff, it helps us out in the long run. It helps us to climb the rankings in the hobby section. Help us knock off all those woodworking bastards. So every little bit of feedback that you give us on there helps out. Speaking of feedback, if you want to send us some feedback to make sure that we absolutely will read it and check it out, or if you want to ask us a question, or if you want to suggest a future manga for us to read, you can send all that stuff via email to weeklymangarecap@yahoo.com. Special thanks go out to all of our Patreon supporters. Your support allows us to create all sorts of fun bonus content for you guys to enjoy.
Yeah, Burrs.
We recorded some more Digi commentary earlier this week. So
yes, you have to put that out, yep.
Additionally, special thanks to Steve Manor Taco Artist. You can check out his work in a number of different places. He's got his own Patreon as well. And Infamous Planet for doing the stuff like making the framework on the visuals and everything. That's it. We'll catch you guys next week, I guess.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys next time right here in the eve of the Infinity War, Nick.
Yeah.
All right, let's put your bet down now, Nick. Who dies? You can name
Tony.
2 people. Tony?
It's got to be 2 people?
I'm saying name 2 people. Because it might be more, it might be less.
Oh, just an over-under?
Well, just name 2 people. 2 people who will die. They don't necessarily have to think both will die, but...
Black Widow.
Black Widow, interesting.
Yeah.
I was going to say Tony, but you already took him, so I'm going to go with... I'm going to say Loki, and I'm going to say... Nebula.
So the 2 redeemed villains.
Yes.
That'll suck. All right.
Well, this blows. All right, guys, that's going to do it. We'll catch you next time.
Sorry.
Nick just broke his computer.
I literally accidentally just... Bah.